Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Alexis if it's your first time here. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a very easy balloon garland. This balloon garland will look massive, but you will see by the end of this that it really doesn't take much to build out a balloon garland. I actually have an event today that I'm prepping for. After we finish prepping here, we're going to go over to the actual venue and set it up. So you're gonna experience the entire day with me of how I run my business. So we're gonna be using a mix of Gemar balloons here, Sempertex balloons, and Tuftex balloons. They're all mixed in because I couldn't really find all the right colors that I wanted inside of one brand, so I mixed them up. These are all great balloon brands, so they're gonna last a very long time. Start off first by blowing up 11-inch balloons. I'm gonna use my air pump that I purchased off of Amazon. It's super cheap and it makes it super easy for you to get your balloons done fast. So I'm gonna start off with the turquoise color first. The colors are turquoise, brown, and copper. You have stretchy, like good balloons, it's easy to tie the mix. So you just kind of wrap it around each other and then you make a knot. It's super easy. Some people go double times. You don't really need to do all that. One time around gets it done, especially when they're good balloons. They're gonna stay because we're gonna tie them to other balloons, so they'll be fine. I like mine to look around this. Even though they're 11 inches, I like them to get them around this size. Even if you're using an 11-inch balloon, you don't technically want it to be an 11-inch balloon, if that makes sense. Okay, so this is what our 11 inches is gonna look like. And I'm just gonna now start speeding through this. This is an up close of like a good size for an 11-inch. So I've blown up almost 50 of the turquoise. I'm gonna now jump over to blowing up my 19-inch turquoise because I want to start merging those with my 11 inches. I have more 11-inch, but what I hate doing is overblowing balloons that I won't use. So I like to start with a good amount and then I'll jump over to doing something else and then I'll come back. But like I hate overdoing my count because it's just, one, it's so much to travel with, two, you waste balloons. I hate wasting balloons. With 19-inch balloons, I like to get them around this size. This is kind of a good size to get your 19 inches. Kind of tie them up. Now this is going to help frame out your garland at the end of the day, so you don't need many of them. So I start off blowing up 6, and then if I need more, I'll add more, but you don't need many of these. Now we're going to jump over to our copper. So again, you just want to literally tie a knot of the neck and just loop over one time of the balloon and tie a knot, and then that's it. All right, I've done about 50 of the rose gold, so now, well, rose gold / copper, and now I'm gonna do some 17 inches. Tuftex does not come in 19, so I used the 17 inch, which is the closest. I'm gonna blow up about 6 of these as well. Like with the bigger balloons, I'm kind of putting my hand at the top. That's what you want to do because it helps kind of round it out as it's blowing up, and then you can kind of get it to the size that you want it to be. Now, depending on the color, Tuftex is not stretchy, so it can be a little bit hard. Like the copper colors, the golds are not stretchy, but all of their like solid color ones are stretchy, so just beware of that. All right, now we're gonna start on the brown. So I am just gonna start blowing at the 11-inch brown. Now we're moving on to the 18-inch. Now typically I would use use jumbos with these, but some brands just don't have 24, 20 something inch balloon. So you have to kind of like deal with what you have. It sucks because I feel like by now every brand should have like a jumbo size, but even this is not considered a jumbo. It's a larger balloon, but it's not technically considered a jumbo. But I guess it could be. It will be for today, so yeah. Now we're gonna switch over our pumps. Now some people will continue using this type of pump for their smaller 5-inch balloons, but I have something called a Legenda. I actually have two. I invested into two because they help me get my smaller balloons to the perfect size that I want them. So I'm gonna bust those out. Now 5-inch balloons are supposed to be small, like that small. In my honest opinion, these take the longest to do because they are the smallest and you actually need so many of them compared to all your other balloons that it takes you a little bit longer to get through these than the bigger ones. Start to act like this area is my actual backdrop and build it over from there. I can only build it so tall because I need to travel with this in my vehicle. So I'm gonna do what I can and then the rest we'll build there. I'm gonna start out by first making a quad. So you always wanna add the darkest color first and then go in and add the lighter colors up. So it should be like brown, turquoise, copper. That's how it should look at the end. So I'm gonna make groups of 8 and then a group of 4 and a 19-inch, which is called a cluster. This is where it gets a little tough. You pretty much just wanna take the necks of your balloons and like find 2 stretchy necks, tie them together. Now some people, they can't do this, and so what they do is they end up just using 360 balloons. That's fine, but the only problem with that is that it doesn't make your garland tight, and you want to have a tight garland because that's what gives the overall look. So now I have these. It's actually going to look like this because we're stacking it up on this. There you go. You got your first group of colors. So this group of 4 and a 19-inch, I'm gonna use, which is called a cluster. I'm gonna use this end to start filling in and shaping my garland. So like right now, we're just gonna kind of leave these be because we wanna build it up to the height we wanna get it to, and then we'll go in and start adding these pretty ones. Our base garland, and this is what I'm going to use to start off and add the rest of these balloons. I still have plenty more balloons to add to this. This is just kind of how I want it to baseline. So now we're going to pack all the rest of my balloons up and get over to the venue and get this thing built out. So now that we've made it over to the actual setup, the backdrop was already done for me. The client just wanted me to come in and actually do a garland, which was super helpful because it saved me a lot of time. Now, I'm doing this all by myself, which is not typically what I do. I always have some type of support, but today I don't. My husband was at work and we had to do it alone. But as you can see, all I'm doing is taking a 260 balloon. I know I called it a 360 earlier, but it's called a 260 balloon, which is like a stretchy balloon. And I am just tying it to this backdrop. I am trying to secure it as best as possible so that it doesn't kind of start to move while I'm attaching other balloons to it. And that's pretty much it. It's really simple. So now we're going to start filling out the garland. I am now adding all of those clusters that I made at home with a 260 balloon. Now, I only recommend using a 260 balloon to add your clusters when the balloons are not stretchy enough and they're just going to give you a hard time. Other times, I just tie the balloons to each other. I try to find the longest, stretchiest neck and then tie them to my base garland. It really does make a difference when you tie the balloon directly to your base garland rather than using a 260 balloon to just loop it around. It gives a tighter effect and it also gives a
better design in the end. I know that's a big contradiction to what I'm actually doing right now, but later in the end, I actually start to go back and retie these balloons because I just feel like my garland wasn't coming out like how I wanted it to. That's what I recommend you doing. Also, I recommend not putting two big balloons next to each other. You will see me move a lot of the balloons around like you do here, just because like you don't want two big balloons right next to each other. Like they can be kind of like diagonal from each other, but right next to each other, it doesn't really fill out the garland like you want it to. So I move around my balloons a lot even after they're placed. I just try to find like the perfect setup. Taking a step back a lot of times really does help you do that. Now I'm going in and adding a small garland here. My client did not ask for this, but after seeing the setup, I was like, you know what? It'll look good here to have a small garland. And plus I had extra balloons. So I just started to add them in here. With small garlands, you really don't have to do as much. It's super easy, super simple, and you don't want to add, again, the big balloons right next to each other. You want to try to space them out. So as you can see, I'm using rose gold and brown big balloons, but I'm not adding any large turquoise balloons because I don't want it to look overwhelming with all those balloons. Now we're going to go in and add 5-inch balloons, which are minis, to our garland to just kind of finish it off. Now I know I didn't show you how I tie these, but pretty much I'm tying 8 balloons together. What I do is I make quads out of them first and then tie those 2 quads together. I'll show you in another video exactly how I do it, but I was kind of in a rush here, so I kind of forgot. But yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just I do 2 quads together. Some people do chains. There's so many ways you can do minis to really fill out your garland, but I feel like this is the most cost efficient way. Start doing chains. It costs you more balloons, which is not always cost effective for the actual client. So if you want to be cost efficient and you want to think about your costs and have them low, then I recommend then just doing like 8s or 4s with your minis, and you'll be great. But as you can see that these minis just really help bring life to this garland. I feel like people that go in and just don't use mini balloons, it's like, what are you doing? Like, it looks ugly. Minis do it all. Minis are everything. But this is the final result of the garland. This is the overall look. As you can see, this is like the perfect garland. This is huge and it is grand, but it also is not very hard to do. I know it looked like a lot. I know it looked like I did a lot, but overall, as you can see, my vision came to life and the client was very happy. That is all for today, y'all. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll see you next time. Bye.